Do you know why I have named you Hamad, my dear? Yes, isn't it a Qatari tradition to have your father's name? Dad replied Hamad to his father. Yes, besides that you really look like him when he was young, his father added. Hamad looked at his grandfather's photo, which was hung on the wall. Tell me more about him. Hamad wanted to know more about his grandfather, as he died when he was only 2 years old, and he doesn't remember anything about him. His name was Hamad Muhammad. He was one of the pioneers to go to college. He loved to learn and encouraged us all to do the same. He was a great engineer. He participated in building the new Doha. If he was still alive, he would love you so much. Dr. Ahmed said while they were looking at an old photo of their old family house. This was the conversation between Hamad and his father, Dr. Ahmed, when they were sitting in the grandfather's room having a nice chat together. Hamad Ahmed Muhammad is a 13 years old boy. He's a student in an independent school. He's a smart boy and he is very good at painting. At that day, after he went out from the grandfather's room, Hamad felt something strange. He missed his grandfather and wished that he could meet him or even see a picture for him when he was young. Hamad felt that he wanted to go out and see Doha as something he had inherited from his grandfather. He took a bus and looked out the window. He was amazed when he looked at Qatar's construction areas and their new rail project. Then something weird happened. The bus didn't stop at the station. Hamid waited and waited for the bus to stop, but it didn't. What is the problem? What is happening? He asked the driver who didn't answer him. The bus started to get faster and faster. Hamad was scared. He fastened the seatbelt and held the chair tightly. Finally, the bus stopped. The door opened. It was quiet. Hamad walked slowly to the door and got off. It was an amazing new rail station with the flag of Qatar. A robot? Hamad said. There was a robot standing up. Hamad walked towards it to discover what can this robot do. Hamad inserted his Qatari ID, so the robot directly asked him, do you want to take it to the past or the future? Ticket? Past? He said to himself, and he remembered the conversation with his father about his grandfather, and he quickly replied, to the past! Please, to the past! He took the ticket, and before he went, the robot alerted him not to mess with the past. He was very happy when he saw the tickets were coming out of the robot. He pulled them out and had a seat in the train. The train went very fast and suddenly started to shake hard. Then Hamad jumped up from his seat to fall down on a camel. All the buildings and the towers collapsed on the ground and turned into sand. He looked around. It was a desert with some tents and a few old houses. He recognized one of the houses. It was the old family house that his father showed him its picture. The camel continued until it stopped in front of that same house. Oh, I'm really in the past! He was so excited. Suddenly, a boy around his age came out of that house, running. When Hamad saw his face, he was astonished. The boy was a copy of him, as if he was looking at the mirror. He directly knew without any doubts that this is his grandfather. The strange boy came closer to Hamad. He looked at him and said, Salam alaikum. What's your name? Hamad smiled and answered, Hamad. My name is Hamad. How about you? Hamad knew the answer, but he wanted to make sure. Ha 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 ha. Also Hamad. Hamad Muhammad. This is my name. The boy answered. Hamad freaked out. He wanted to tell him that he is his future grandson. He wanted to hug him and express his happiness to meet him, but he remembered what the robot said. Don't mess with the past. Haman, hurry up! Go! Did you hear me? An angry voice came from the house. She was the boy's mother. I hate to go there. I hate learning. I want to sleep and look after the sheep, the boy said. Where does she want you to go? Hamad asked him. The young grandfather explained to him that he was supposed to go to Qatar, where he has to study and learn Quran, Islamic and Arabic. School? I love schools. If you may, I would love to go with you, Hamad said. The young grandfather was so surprised to find someone who loved to learn, and he considered him a strange boy. On their way, they were speaking together. They spoke about education. That's when Hamad tried to convince his young grandfather to love learning, pay more attention to the teacher, to thank God that he had the chance to learn and to go with positive attitude toward that place. Kutab. When they reached the mosque where the Kutab was, there were only three boys sitting on a mat, which is made of straw. They had their seats on the same mat. There were no desks, also there were no books, only a wooden blackboard and white chalks. Where are the rest of the students? Hamad asked his grandfather. These are all the students, the grandfather replied. The teacher came with a frown on his face and a stick in his hand. The students didn't call him teacher, they said my sheikh instead. After he greeted the students with the Islamic salam, he started to hit the students hardly with his ugly stick. All the students sat down quietly. The teacher recited verses from the Holy Quran, and the students repeated after him. When he finished Islamic studies, he directly switched to Arabic and read some old poems. After that, they prayed together. Finally, the teacher gave them the permission to go out. When is the next session? Hamad asked. For God's sake, what are you saying? Do you mean that there is something else we can study? Hamad the grandfather asked. No, nothing. Hamad replied after he remembered the robot. The young grandfather became eager to know more from Hamad, who was a mystery to him, but he loved him very much. They sat down under a palm tree. Hamad told his grandfather that his life and his country could be changed if he studied. He told him how education is important, and that only through it he involved in raising the name of Qatar up and be loyal to it. You know, you made me feel that education fills our minds just like food fills our stomach. Hamad, the grandfather said, promise me you'll be better educated man in the future, and you will raise the name of Qatar up, Hamad said with emotion. I do, the grandfather said. Throughout this conversation, Hamad was holding a piece of paper and a pencil he had brought for them from the prison. He was doing something with them while they were chatting. The sun started to set. Hamad had to go back, otherwise he would be stuck in the past. I have to go, but before I want to give you this as a souvenir. Keep it with you, he said with tears in his eyes. It was a portrait of his young grandfather signed with his name. Your best friend, Hamad. Keep your promise and remember me. They shook hands. Hamad rode his camel to the time tunnel. Once again, the camel transformed into a train. Hamad came back to the prison. He ran to his grandfather's room. He found his old diary book. He removed the dust over it and flipped the papers until he came to an old stone portrait. With his signature, he tried to find the date when he met him. Finally, he did. His grandfather had written the date on that date. Today, I have met a friend who made me love Kitab. His name was Hamad. He looked just like me. I promised him to raise the name of Qatar up, and I will keep my promise. Hamad was very happy and thanked God for being in Qatar, which offers the best education in the world for Qatari and non-Qatari students to become producers more than consumers and to achieve Qatar's Vision 2030.